Planes prepared for takeoff, processing centers buzzing with activity, and immigration agents fanning across the country. They're all part of the mass deportation plan from the incoming Trump administration. Tara Mergener brings us the details.
President Donald Trump promises to deport millions of migrants as part of a swift and drastic shift in immigration policy. Making this a reality would require significant resources, coordination, and political will, raising questions about how a potential $68 billion operation might unfold. A human wave pouring into the United States.
Buses carrying hundreds of migrants from the southern border to cities all across the U.S.
Millions flooding border towns, affecting crime rates and straining resources.
The crisis at the southern border appears to be a major factor in a surge in homelessness here in the U.S.
Now hospitals are sounding the alarm, saying they're also overwhelmed.
As Inauguration Day arrives, President-elect Trump is preparing not only to slam the door, but to begin mass deportations on a historic scale.
On my first day back in the Oval Office, I will sign a historic slate of executive orders to close our border to illegal aliens and stop the invasion of our country.
Leading the effort will be border czar Tom Homan, who plans to recruit thousands of immigration enforcement agents and reallocate federal resources to swiftly apprehend criminals, along with those already under orders to leave the country.
We got ICE officers across the country going to start, they're going to be hitting the streets looking for criminal illegal aliens. At the same time, we'll be putting ending catch release day one. At the same day, we're also going to be looking for over 340,000 missing children.
This includes using advanced technology, such as AI databases, to help track them down. Trump's team also plans to rely on military aircraft for moving large groups of deported migrants to processing hubs.
They target criminal aliens. They target individuals so they know where they're at. They know what they're doing, and they're able to pick those individuals up in a safe setting.
Homan insists the federal government will deport criminals with young children, leaving families to decide whether to leave together or face separation.
Their parent obviously entered the country illegally, had a child knowing he was in the country illegally, so he created that crisis.
Several Democrat governors vowed to defy Trump and insist they will not cooperate with federal immigration authorities.
It harms communities. It tears families apart, and that's not gonna happen on my watch.
Sanctuary cities and states not cooperate with federal immigration enforcement officers, refuse to share info or turn them over to ICE, as well as pro-crime prosecutors, frankly, who immediately release these criminals back onto the street rather than pursue their prosecution and detain them.
Legal battles are likely, with various groups warning of civil liberties violations.
We're hearing from some people in the Trump transition team that they're only going to go after hardened criminals and national security threats. And that's one thing. But then we're hearing from lots of other people that it is going to really be mass deportation, and they're going to go after people without criminal convictions.
Political observers say the administration is better prepared this time around to quickly implement change.
Unlike with the border wall, where it took 20 months to build 1 mile of wall, they're really getting started now. I think they've learned from the first administration we need to really make time.
Trump also plans to eliminate immigration pathways created by the Biden administration, like the CBP One app and humanitarian parole, which expanded legal entry options. While critics claim the cost of Trump's plan would be astronomical, supporters counter the financial burden will be offset by ending the draining of resources and money by an estimated 12 to 20 million illegal migrants.
You just look at the billions of dollars. It's probably close to $1 trillion that the administration has spent facilitating illegal aliens into the country, busing them, flying them, housing them, gift cards, food cards, everything, that all the money that they're providing I think that money would be better spent actually removing individuals that are a threat to American communities.
The incoming Trump administration feels confident about this ambitious immigration crackdown, as recent polls indicate more than half of Americans support some level of deportation, with approximately the same number favoring a path to citizenship. In Washington, Tara Mergener, CBN News.
Get ready for a flood of stories about deportation, and depending on which side you're on politically, you can pretty much guarantee the majority of them are going to be high negative, talking about children being separated or families being devastated. There's history here, and the history is not particularly good. You go back to the Eisenhower administration, there were mass deportations, shiploads of people being sent back to Mexico, and it's not exactly a pretty history. I hope the Trump administration learns from that history and can do it in a way that's compassionate. Let's not separate children from their parents. If there are 340,000 missing children, how do we find them? How do we reunite them? But at the same time, I really applaud that he's closing the borders, and it's time to recognize this is beyond crisis. It's beyond invasion. It's overwhelming everything in our country, whether it's the homeless situation, whether it's the criminal situation, overwhelming hospitals, overwhelming all of these support facilities that are available to American citizens. How much of those resources are being diverted into illegal immigrants? And just why didn't the Biden administration enforce the law? That's a lingering question. I could never figure out what was their long-term interest in this. How did they think it was helping the country or helping them politically? It just absolutely made no sense. So let's have some sense. Let's close our border. But most of all, let's be compassionate as we enforce the law.